Okay, we'll call the Board of Sewer Commissioners for the Pownal Wastewater Treatment Facility on Thursday, October 22nd to order. Tonight we have agenda approval of the minutes for 7/23/15 and 8/27/15. We have mail. Chief Operations Report for August to October. Review of the new sewer allocation applications and review of the EU reduction request. What's your pleasure on the agenda?
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approval of the minutes, 7/23 and 8/27/2015.
Oh, I guess we better check and see if we have enough board members. Let's Nelson, Jason, Henry, we still, Jason, Rich, Nelson, Jason, I have 3 for the 27th, so let's concentrate on those.
Okay.
That
I'll
was
move
our
that we approve the
solo.
27th and table to the 23rd and settle if we have the quorum needed for it.
Alrighty, so we're going to approve the 27th and table the 23rd. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Now,
Any mail?
We have our one piece, which I think the board has already previewed, for the Pine Villa,
okay.
and that would be your mail.
Okay, and then Chief Operations Report, August to October, Darcy.
Are we gonna talk about the mail at all, or?
Oh, you want to discuss
Is
that
that
now?
under, is it
Well,
under any place else?
no.
or-
No, I think
I think
that
it's to address
self-explanatory.
the mail, yeah.
I think the mail was self-explanatory.
Basically, it's a request, as I can interpret it, for sewer decommissions in the park. We do have a policy in place. I sent them an application back in January. I just have never received that application. Perhaps I should just resend it to them?
I would suggest that. I mean, with maybe a short note saying, this is the second time that we've sent this application. We would like it completed and returned to us at the earliest convenience.
And at this point, we wouldn't actually do any physical decommissions after November 15th. So, although there were 2 left in this fiscal year, but at this point in the year, it may be too late for them to actually allocate those 2 and actually physically decommission this year.
So who actually does that? Do they do that?
They would have to pay to do that, but
And
we
you,
would
and you
oversee
oversee
it.
it, cut it and cap it?
Yeah, tell them where to just.
Make sure it's done properly.
So perhaps for spring, they could apply for the 3 if they wanted to do that now, and they could reserve those 3. They would be first come, first served. If they apply for the 3, they'll get them and they can start their decommission.
Okay. Board have any comments on that? No? You're happy with it? Okay. Great, that takes care of it now. All right, Chief Operation Report, August through October.
Yes, so as you know, I've mentioned, I'm working with A&E to complete the application for our new National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System permit. That regulates the conditions of our discharge to the Hoosick River, and it has to be submitted by December 31st. And I've also been working on the equipment list and replacement schedule for presentation at the upcoming budget session in February. That's coming along very well. I received a few requests for sewer allocations, decommissions, and EU reduction throughout October, and I've been working through them and prepared documentation for the board's review and approval, which we'll discuss at the end of the agenda showed. We continue to accept more stuffage. Receipts for July through September alone total more than $5,000. That's great. It's important. It means that more revenue which goes toward offsetting the element budget. And we have installed new security lighting around the fenced area of the wastewater treatment facility. We received an updated security system today. We're going to install that next week. It'll provide for better night vision and recording. We've experienced some vandalism on the lawn area during the wee hours of the morning, and it just takes time and money. And it's frustrating to come in and see it all ripped up. That's happened multiple times, so we're going to curb that.
I'm taking it as cameras, et cetera.
And the new security lighting has helped
Okay,
out front as well, to
great.
kind of curb some of that. The new propane company visited each of our pump stations that have generators and performed the leak tests that they wanted to do. One station will need some additional work done and some work to the heater itself, but the leak tests and the line work will result in no charge to the town. They're gonna take care of that, I made sure. And I also spoke with the new diesel provider, gave him the information he needs to fill our generators here at the wastewater. Both very nice individuals, seem like good companies. All of the fire extinguishers at the treatment facility and the pump stations have received their annual checkout. They're required to put up new tags on them and have them tested. We installed 2 new pumps and electrical services in the sludge holding tank area. They're an upgrade from the manually operated telescoping valves, so they've been much more efficient. Pump fail alarm at PV2 in August led to the replacement of start and run capacitors in the motor, but we've done this work before and we had them on the shelf, so we just took care of it that the same day. A suction flapper also needed to be replaced at PV2, but we have them on the shelf, so took care of that day. And we had a power failure in Pownal Center August 11th and October 21st, but neither did any damage, and all alarms reset on that. But a power fail at PV3 caused an electrical component that protects the motor starter to fail. And when this happens, you can't reset the power fail alarm. So I knew right away what it was, that component, and we had a spare on the shelf from the last time that happened. And I even hand typed directions and put them in the box, which I totally forgot about. So that was great. I pulled them out, like, hey, look at this, number 1. I don't even remember doing it. We performed the full fall wet well cleanings at PV3 and PC4. This is where we remove the top layer of the grease and the rags so it doesn't get into the pumps and into the force mains. And the back jointed panels of pump station 2, they were starting to come apart again, so refiberglassed and repainted. A removed mobile home here on 346 left the sewer connection sort of exposed and full of debris, so we cleaned that out and put a proper pipe on it, so if another one comes in, it'll be ready. And we noticed that pump number 2 back at PV1 was running longer and longer as we take our daily run times. So we went down and pulled that, and it was just completely clogged with rags of discharge. So we cleaned that, put it back in. But then a flood event down there at PV1 in September led to a pump 1 failure, and this was a new pump when we put it in 3 years ago. And we removed the pump, and we actually had a rebuilt unit on the shelf. So we popped that one in. This one will have to be rebuilt because it was new last time, but that's my last new one. So I ordered a new flange, which has a rubber gasket on it, that's part of it, so you're gonna replace the whole flange, and the legs. But we'll probably have to order a whole new pump assembly next year. That will be in the list of equipment, so.
But the one we have now can be rebuilt?
Yes, because it was a new one, and when we watch the run times, we actually catch the pump before it's completely junk. We know there's something going on with it, so we pull it, we can have them rebuilt as long as they're new the first time.
Okay.
The bollards at the pump stations have been repainted, and all the grinder pump stations received their fall control panel checks and float cleanings. All the generators at the wastewater treatment facility and the pump stations received their new batteries and all their services. And let's see, pump 2 at PC1 failed due to a plug check valve. The valve was taken apart and cleaned, pump put back online. And that's a real brief summary of all the means, just sort of the biggest and important things that were happening throughout the past couple of months. I'd like to move to a recent inquiry into a potential sewer connection. I actually did not receive an application, but it sort of led to it. Oh, I'm sorry.
Before you do
Okay.
that, just a question on
Absolutely.
the computer system we have.
Yes.
How's that working for you?
Wonderful. I love it. It's reliable. It's consistent. The dial-out system works beautifully. It's wonderful. I
Okay,
really like it.
great.
It was a great upgrade.
I just wanted a little
Yeah,
information on
Yeah,
that.
fantastic upgrade.
Was there much training involved with that, or no, or?
Not really.
Good.
No.
Okay.
Not really. It's just sort of, the biggest transition was from dialing in on the phone to actually using the internet.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's sort of seamless. I mean, we're all so familiar with the internet. It
Sure.
wasn't much of a, you know,
Okay.
much.
Continue on.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. So, yes, a recent inquiry into potential sewer connection sort of got us going on an inter-office discussion on if someone owes sewer charges or are delinquent in sewer charges and they're applying for a new connection.
Mhm.
We've never run into that before. Do we have a policy on that? And no, we really didn't have a policy regarding that situation. So, drafted a policy for your review tonight,
Uh-huh.
and I did leave in there a window of opportunity for payment, because I think that's important, not to just say no, but to allow the board to set a condition that will say, and if you pay what you owe in a certain amount of time, will allow you to proceed with the application process.
Well, I think that, in my opinion, that the customer applying for this should be in good standing with the wastewater treatment facility in the town. I believe that, to want these services, you should be in good standing there.
Now, as far as good standing, so up to date on everything, is that, taxes?
Well, I would-
Zoning,
No.
This is just as it pertains to wastewater.
just
Yeah.
strictly for wastewater.
I would suggest that the other areas.
It falls underneath a
Adopt.
different commission. It falls under the select board.
Right.
This is your sewer commissioners when you're sitting here, so whatever you're making rules on is for the sewer commissioner.
Okay.
I mean, in my belief, I think you should be in good standing before we can offer additional services. I think most municipalities would probably operate that way.
Absolutely.
And I think that is, within a specific time frame for the permit to remain valid.
It leaves it open
Why-
for you to make a condition, not
Right.
make a condition, or give.
Because we're talking about a policy here, I would say read off the policy
Okay.
in here so people know what we're talking about versus what we're talking about here.
All right.
Okay, so this is if someone is applying for a preliminary or final sewer service allocation or an actual connection. So if they've gotten their allocation and then they go for a connection, so it would cover both of those.
Either or
Right.
both. Okay, home/landowners applying for sewer capacity allocations, parentheses, except those subject to condition A below, end of parentheses, or sewer connection via the wastewater permitting process must be current in their payment of sewer charges to the town of Pownal. This includes current sewer charges due and delinquent sewer charges due. Condition A, the Board of Sewer Commissioners may provide a condition within a sewer capacity allocation permit stating that the current and/or delinquent charges must be paid within a specific time frame for a permit to remain valid.
And allocation is different than the actual permit to hook up, and we should explain a little bit about that.
Right, the allocation is what you'll be actually proving a preliminary and a final tonight. It is simply providing the allocation to them. It's not permission to connect. There's a final process for that, and that's why I said, if you read the next one, no sewer connection permits.
Yeah, the allocation, clearly, we set and we approve, but the state also looks at the fact of what we're allocating to make sure we have it to allocate. There's a little more to it than just a straight permit, which is the next step, which we go ahead and provide if they meet all these requirements.
Right.
So they should realize it's two separate things we're talking
Right.
about, but we're looking at a policy that will actually cover both.
Right.
To continue with this, no sewer connection permits will be issued if the current or delinquent sewer charges have not been paid to date. Duly enacted and passed on this 22nd day of October 2015 by the Board of Selectmen in the town of Pownal, the state of Vermont. at a duly called and duly held meeting of the Board of Selectmen. And then these are the signatures below, along with the administrative assistant. So,
So quick question. So an example would be like a landlord, like a mobile home park.
Mhm.
So if they have more than one property,
It would pertain to anyone. It could even be someone who
With
wants
two
to add
homes.
an apartment to a
Yeah.
home and they owe 2 years of
Mhm.
delinquent sewers.
Gotcha.
It could be, this would blanket every permit.
Okay.
Yeah.
so I think it's a good policy. I'll open this for discussion or questions to Darcy.
Today's what date?
October 22nd.
23rd.
Should
It's
this
October
just say,
22nd.
26th.
I think
Yeah,
it's the
we're
26th.
just sewer
Okay,
commissioner,
Adam,
get the, take the
Board of Selectmen. That's
right
where
out
I
of
was
it.
going.
Mhm.
At duly called and duly held meeting of the sewer commissioners,
Yeah.
Okay.
okay? And then down here where you sign, both parties are what makes up that, but this really is the sewer commissioners that's,
Are you just gonna make that change and then him sign it? Yeah,
okay.
because we won't meet then until.
But other than that, I think we're okay. And allocations are good for how long? When somebody gets one?
The preliminary is 1, the final is 3 if they begin construction within the first 2
3 what?
years.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so basically, somebody could be, and that's where, the reason why I'm saying this is because it says charges must be paid within a specific time frame. So basically, if I'm a person, I can come in and ask for the allocation, begin the process, pay the fees, and then the sewer commissioners can say, before you'll get your final permit, which is, or connection fee, which is only good for this number of years, you must be paid up or you will not be given it in the 3rd year or whatever year.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, I think that's what it is that you can add conditions
Yeah.
and a time frame for
Yeah.
that permit. In other words, you would say, okay, we're gonna approve this permit so that you can go to the state and you can get your stuff going, but in order for the permit to remain valid, you have to pay these fees by this time frame.
Sure.
Otherwise, it nullifies the permit, because
Right.
the condition is set in the permit itself.
Okay, and that's just because I saw a specific time frame, but it really means is we're gonna say, this is what your allocation permit is valid for, based on our policy. And if you're not paid by that
Correct.
date,
The permit's null and void. Yeah.
okay,
makes
just so that we're not making I'm looking at us,
Generalized
someone
statement.
coming in and saying, okay, and I'll have some board in the future or whatever say, you gotta pay this within 2 weeks or you're not gonna get your allocation. I think it's reasonable for the period of time you permit for allocation is valid, that you say by the date that this is valid.
If so, we don't want to dissuade
Versus
people
someone saying,
from conducting.
Whatever
Want
is
them
done
to
is not
conduct.
going to be any good until you're paid up full,
Well, that's right.
correct?
But,
right?
well, the permit will be valid up until the point that they don't pay for the fee. But it will allow them to start the process at the bank, at the
The
state.
bank is,
at the-
chances are the bank is gonna want an allocation if
The
they're
bank will
gonna.
want an allocation, the state will want an allocation, they
Right.
need that permit. But if that condition is in the permit and they don't follow through, the permit's no longer
Well,
valid, and then they
good.
can't move ahead with their connection.
That's right.
So,
Okay. I move that we sign it as read with the minor change that was made to where it stated Board of Selectmen, it says sewer commissioners.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passed. Great.
in the, let's see, Linda has the one to sign. The last thing I have is our next scheduled meeting is for January 22nd, if needed.
Mhm.
And I'll let Linda know, if we need that, I know that that's your big budget time
Mhm.
up at Town Hall. We will definitely have to meet in February, because I'll be at my budget
Right.
meeting and discuss equipment and all of that. So, just a reminder on that, and that's it for my report.
Okay,
The other thing we could do now that Cindy's here, I think we can untable,
Yes.
I'll move to untable the minutes that was tabled earlier.
Of the approval of the minutes on 7/23. Now that we have the 3 selectmen here that were at the meeting, you're gonna,
I'll make a motion that we approve
okay?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
it.
Okay.
Just get it done.
Chief Operators Report, so location, review of EU reduction request.
Applications first. Review
Oh, yes,
of new
I'm
sewer
sorry.
applications, and we have two. We have Final, which has all the final plans and specs in it. It's in West Meadow, and he's connecting to a stub, which is an easy connection, straightforward. He's putting a grinder station in, so gravity's not even an issue. And we're gonna locate that for him next week. He'll probably be online in the next couple of weeks, so,
So question on that, so if he's gonna put in a pump system,
yeah.
where does our responsibility end and where does his?
That will all be his responsibility. New lines that are laid are their responsibility.
Okay.
Yeah, we only have responsibility for the ones that we signed our sewer easement agreements for the initial construction. But he will be digging up the road, he has had multiple conversations with Casey, and he's clear, and I actually wrote that the owner has discussed and will comply with regulations provided by the road foreman, just to cover Casey and make sure that that was in there for
And
him.
he's familiar with it.
And yeah, they've already talked and discussed it, so as far as I can see, this is cut and dry, let's hook them up.
Then we have to approve that.
You have to approve it and you have to sign this permit.
I move that we approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Gave us permit.
Left the top line for.
Yeah, one more.
Yep, I do, and this one is, I think, wonderful. Got a hold of this Chris Hines, who works for the owner Glenn, and he moved right ahead with a preliminary application, so he can move forward with his state permits and the banking and all of that. He is putting a dairy bar on the vacant lot of Center Street and North Pownal Road and Route 7.
Around this property.
It's been there for years and no one's taken advantage of it. We did a count per seat, as it would be a restaurant, to figure out his EUs. And all that information is in here if you'd like to look through it, but it comes out to be 3 EUs for this. So, I would ask that you approve
So
this
this is the vacant
lot, the vacant lot.
Complete vacant lot, they're
Yeah.
gonna build
Build a little dairy bar there with a nice little parking lot out front and seating
That's
and
across the road from the old dairy bar.
across the road from the old dairy bar.
Yeah, they've talked to me several times. They haven't put a permit in yet for the structure, but they're moving.
They're getting their other permits in place.
it. Exciting.
It is nice, it is exciting, and
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think it'd be great for the kids.
Especially for ice cream at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was, the little one.
I move that we sign them.
Yep.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Don't you use those things?
Because you, not that often, yeah, during the day.
Dallas.
Yeah, somebody needs in Dallas, you're right.
Yeah, someone else just want to speak out.
We call it Larry Lagoon.
You got-
Ghost is a
Doris, tomorrow, would you do me a favor and
Sure.
fax me up or email me up some copies
The
of
permits.
those things that we did?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Darcy, do you have anything?
Yes, I just, no, not for applications, those were the only 2.
Have a reduction.
Yep.
So I guess we move on to the E-reduction. This would be the Roost on Route 7. He's been asking for years to reduce his office, and he's actually looking to sell the property right now. He's using the downstairs as storage. That's all really besides the point, I'm just giving you the information. He had 7, and he's reduced it to 6. He's got 4 downstairs and 2 upstairs. He's
still
the
have
joint.
the proper paperwork?
We actually, with, along the lines of office reductions, apartments, we've always required them to write a letter,
Yeah. like-
come before the board.
Which he has done.
I follow up on it, yes, and he has done this. He just hasn't done it for a couple of years. He's finally getting around to following up on that letter that he sent. I did go look, he's got the 4 downstairs and 2 upstairs. He wants to remove all the walls at some point and have 2 big spaces downstairs and 2 big giant spaces upstairs. But at this is where he's at this point. So I guess I would ask for approval to reduce his EU count from 7 to 6 tonight. And I told him that we'd have to communicate regarding the walls.
I was gonna
There's
say-
there are walls in there, so.
I'll move that we approve the reduction once upon the actual removal of the walls have been approved, seen and verified by
Right,
our.
I did verify that there were 5 downstairs, now there's 4.
Okay,
He
yeah.
wants to
Has
further
he already
reductions.
removed the walls?
That one he has,
Okay,
to go from the 5 to the 4.
all right, then I move to
So,
approve it.
right, I want us to approve that one, but I know
How
you
is he
cannot approve any further
How
ones
is
right
he
now.
taxed?
How was he?
Yeah, how does the town look at that?
He's charged per office space, that's how the
Yeah,
engineer.
but he has to go through the listers to make that change.
Right.
For residential tax purposes, I have no idea. For
Well-
users,
I can't answer for the listers, but I'll give
Right.
a well guess. What they do is they look at what office spaces in there, then they have a formula that they charge for office spaces. If there's a reduction in that formula, he has to go to the listers. This board can't handle that.
right,
All we can do is
Right.
meet his request for one less sewer bill.
Right.
and I told him that the board, I told him I'm just gonna explain
I
it
was
up
just
front.
wondering, are we getting ahead of the,
Well, he has,
if I were, I'm going to
oh,
that.
you want us to have him to have, well, he's already removed the wall. So that's why I'm okay with making the
Well, I
one.
have no problem if it's not being used.
Well, even if it
Well,
was.
even though he's not using them right now, he's still being charged because there's a potential for use there. It's just that he's
Yeah,
He's
reduce the
reconfiguring.
number, right,
Right.
there,
He's
that's the word.
reconfiguring the
yeah, right.
inside of his
Okay.
building
Okay.
to eliminate an EU.
Okay,
yes.
And I'm also gonna suggest to him in my follow-up conversation that he leave the remaining office spaces the way they are, because he is trying to sell it. And I think a potential buyer, the more office space is
Mhm.
probably the better.
well,
And if they wanna put the walls
well,
back
it's
up,
either storage or it isn't. and-
they're gonna have to apply again.
I thought the listers determined that.
They'll determine whether it's storage or not.
Or
We've
was
done
it-
this with apartments, we've done it with some other structures. If he in fact now has 4 office spaces, because you move the wall, and you only got one room, or 4 rooms, you can't, what are you gonna do, rent half the room without a wall? He can do that, I guess, but in reality, he's telling us this is what he has there for spaces to rent. How he deals with the listers is the listers thing. What I'm saying is, at this point, if it's been verified that that's all he has, and I'm okay with reducing the.
Yeah, no, you're saying that's all he has.
4 downstairs, 2 upstairs. The upstairs is just one whole side's
Okay.
open and the other
And
whole
and that's what
side's
he always
rented.
had then.
So,
No, he had more downstairs, he
Right.
took one out.
he's going
Okay,
from
it's
7
already gone.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's why I-
That's, okay, that was really my question.
Will you repeat your motion, please?
Go
my
ahead.
motion is to approve the one EU.
Second.
Okay, all those in
Reduction.
favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Anything else?
That's it.
that's it.
I move we adjourn.
Okay, second, all those in favor say aye. Thank you very much.